Hi folks, I am getting ready to record my next set of videos over the next few days. Specifically this video, and I'm going to talk about what it is in a second, and then I want to talk about just kind of briefly in my next video about the personal planets, and specifically at this point in time, the Sun and Mercury going over the sign of Aquarius, and that leads us to the Aquarius new moon video, and that new moon of course, is on Monday, I think, is it not? Or at least it's on the 29th. It's on the 29th. It's on the 29th. Don't come for the messenger on Wednesday. I also want to do a video on the Neptune North Node conjunction. So those are this video, and then those are the next 3 videos planned over the next week or so. So coming back to doing videos probably every alternate day. I feel like once I release a video, I need to give it a little bit of time to settle. Otherwise, it just becomes a little too video after video after video. As a friendly reminder, because I have not been saying this consistently at the top of these videos, till the end of January, for another week or so, I am offering a reading where we can take a look at the 2025 transits and how they will impact your birth chart. And this is at a discounted rate. The rates will vary by geography based on what I'm able to do and offer or not. And so please feel free, if you're interested in this or my regular readings, use the email address in the description box below. You can email me there and I can get you information. If you can include which country you are living in, that will be super helpful, because then that way it'll cut out some email back and forth, and I can get you the information. We can take things from there. Part of the reason why I prefer doing it at the top of videos, by the time I get to the end of the video and start my administrative spiel, people might drop off or not realize it and all that kind of stuff. Okay, what is this video about? This is going to be one of those videos that some of you are going to be like, what is this video and where is he coming from? 2 videos ago, I did a video on Venus conjuncting Saturn 3 times between January the 18th, the first conjunction, and April the 24th, the third conjunction. Venus conjuncted Saturn on January the 18th and entered her shadow degrees for the retrograde that she is going to go through starting March the 1st. And then she's going to go direct in the middle of April, or the end of the first week of April, April the 7th, I think. April the 13th, she goes direct. Forgive me. April the 13th, she goes direct. And she's going to come all the way back into Pisces, where she was on Jan the 18th, on April the 13th. And on April the 7th, when she's still retrograde, she will conjunct Saturn. April 13th, go direct, and April 24th, conjunct Saturn for the 3rd time. Those of you who've been watching my last few videos know that from my perspective, Venus conjuncting Saturn is the most important aspect between now and the end of April. And indeed, on May the 2nd, she will conjunct Neptune for the 3rd time. And we're going to get the first of those Neptune conjunctions on February the 1st. So Venus going direct in her shadow degrees now. January 18th conjuncts Saturn. February the 1st conjuncts Neptune. Moves into Aries. Retrogrades on March the 1st, comes back into Pisces conjuncts Neptune on March, actually I'm going to ignore the Mercury and the Sun conjunctions for now. Comes back into Pisces, conjuncts Neptune March the 27th, conjuncts Saturn April the 7th, goes direct to April the 13th, conjuncts Saturn April the 24th, and conjuncts Neptune on May the 2nd, and then enters Aries. Actually, she's going to conjunct, that's true, she's going to conjunct Neptune in Aries when she on May the 2nd. Irrespective, the 3 conjunctions that she will make consistently will be with Saturn in Pisces. And yep, you know it's coming. For anybody who's not seen my videos before, the house occupied by Pisces in our chart either needs to be stabilized under Saturn's influence since March 23 to February 26, whether this means giving Neptunian plans, artistic, creative, philanthropic, renunciatory, spiritual, a structure, giving them a structure, giving them a or actively and responsibly handling energy leaks, whether those energy leaks are caused by our not being able to stay on top of obligations and responsibilities in the Pisces part of the chart, or whether they're energy leaks because we've been dealing with some sort of Neptunian fogginess or deception or theft or loss or lack of clarity. And in that case, it could be depending on where Pisces sits in your chart, whether it is you who are doing that or whether it is others who you might be on the receiving end of that. A lot of this is covered in more detail in that Venus-Saturn conjunction video that I called, I think, did I call it Purge? No, I called it Tenure. I called it Tenure 2 videos ago. And I'm not going to repeat all that information and have you hang out here for a whole hour and 5 minutes, however long that video was. But take a look at that video if you like. The 2 videos that will give you a macro sense of where we're at between now and the end of the first week of April, and even till the end of the until the end of April, and even till the end of the first week of June, are 2 videos I did before that on sort of Venus and Mars transits. You'll see them, you know, sort of the more local or the more present, the more where we are at right now. The more micro readings are the weekly overviews that I'm doing in the new moons and the full moons, and then I've done some more macro overviews so that you can get a sense of what's going on over time. The other thing I will say is, per my last weekly overview, I am finding this absolutely to be the case. It is Mercury's transit through Capricorn this week till Monday, Tuesday coming up. That is the most active transit for the next 5 or 6 days still. So just keep that in mind. And again, my weekly overview will give you more information on that, my last one. So I've pointed you, if you're coming to this video and you're like, I haven't caught up, who is this guy? What does he talk about? I've pointed you to the videos to look at for either what the important energies of the next few days, that's the last weekly overview I did, or what is the most important aspect for the first 4 months of this year, which is Venus conjunct Saturn, which is the video I did just before that. And about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I did some videos on Venus going retrograde and Mars currently retrograde, which you'll see the Mars one especially, I think, got a fair number of views. So you can take a look at those, and that'll give you a more macro view of some of the energies that we're going through for these first few months, even till the end of the first week of June. After I did the Venus conjunct Saturn video, because Venus is so concerned with our finances and our relationships, there were a few more thoughts that I had that I wanted to put into this video. And this is really an addendum to that Venus video, but I'm going to tell you what I want to convey. And as I said, not every video I do, or indeed anybody does, is going to have the same kind of punctuation or emphasis or whatever you may call it. I feel that it's important for me to get this content out, and then we'll go back to our regularly scheduled programming, and I'll talk about the personal planets going over the sign of Aquarius, and really we'll get back into the regularly scheduled programming when we talk about the Aquarius new moon on Wednesday, and the weekly overview that I do, and the Neptune North Node conjunction. Those 3 videos coming are going to be a little bit more of, you know, kind of what I normally do. But all of this content feels relevant and important. When we talked about Venus conjuncting Saturn, we talked about discipline around relationships and even cleaning up financial matters and applying a certain kind of rigor to cleaning up the Pisces part of the chart and looking at our relationships and how we're managing our money and our financial obligations. The first thing I want you to consider and be careful of is, as you go about stabilizing the Pisces part of your chart, be careful of making an accurate distinction between clean intentions versus justifications. And that is a big subject psychologically and emotionally for all of us. Where are you doing something because you want to justify something, or what is a good or a noble or a clean intention versus what is something that sometimes we say things like, I have good intentions, or my intentions are clean, or my intentions are clear, when we're really just using that to justify something that is darker or more problematic. And because we're talking about Venus conjunction with Saturn, and because Saturn is such a karmic, consequence-based planet, I think it is important as you start to address, and especially in this time period between now and the end of April, when we are actively being asked to end a set of old energies, so that by the time we get to the middle of April and the beginning of May, we can really comfortably focus on the future, feeling like we've really changes that we have wanted to make, things we have wanted to release, situations we have wanted to release, energy leaks we have wanted to address, boundaries we have wanted to set. Even all the way through 23 and much of 24, we have the opportunity now, January, February, March, April of 2025, to make greater progress. And indeed, as I have been saying to you, there is no option anymore for inertia. We're just in, we may realize that we absolutely have to be in action. We have to be making those changes. We have to be releasing. We have to be constructing the new. We have to address the energy leaks. And as you do that, because it's Venus conjuncting Saturn, it's our relationships and our money and our financial obligations and our values and what we value and our sense of self-worth, but also, and our relationships in a certain amount of harmony and flow. Because Venus conjuncting Saturn is such, and the reason why I titled that Venus conjunct Saturn video Tenure is because Saturn solidifies, strong foundation, can have long-lasting effects. So what you want, and Saturn does not reward, even if you may be right. And with Saturn, I always say you can be right and effective, or you can be right and ineffective. You can get off on being right, and it can just create more and more and more problems and more conflict. Or you can, very Venusian and very Saturnian. Think about, what is the most effective way for me to handle this so that we can get to a peaceful resolution that will actually hold? Sometimes we need Venus in our actions, and sometimes we need Mars. And without being in conversation with each and every person, I'm not going to be able to make these distinctions for you. But just be clear about harmonious, be clear about truly having clean intentions versus doing something where you can use clean intentions as an excuse, but you're really just using that as a justification. Because Saturn is a planet of karma, and you can contemplate, because Saturn is coming into Pisces from March 23, and the Pisces part of the chart has been in some sort of crisis mode since 2012, but especially peaking in 16, 17. You can experiment with what actions you've been taking in the Pisces part of the chart so far, and have they actually led to happy outcomes and peaceful outcomes, or do those actions just keep perpetuating more chaos and conflict? And so, just as I said, be mindful of what is a clean intention and where is a clean intention being used as a justification for something that is perhaps either more emotional or frankly not so clean at all. With Saturn, it's so interesting when we consider the outer planets. When we did not have Chiron and Uranus and Neptune and Pluto in the conversation, it was Jupiter and Saturn that each in their own way were planets of integrity. In Jupiter's case, it was our integrity to ourselves, our connection to spirit, our connection to what truly felt honest within ourselves. And with Saturn, it was integrity in action. Integrity as we conduct our business and our affairs and our lives in this 3D reality. Now, with Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the theme of being in integrity, all those planets are somehow involved in that conversation in different ways. But with Saturn, integrity of action, intention, clean intentions, a very important factor, especially as you try to clean and structure things. So this could mean it doesn't just have to be something that is applied in the case of structuring something artistic. It could be something that can be applied if you're trying to, it doesn't have to be something that can be applied only if there's conflict or nebulousness or deception. It can also be something that is applied when you are trying to construct something that is, or put some plans and structures around artistic goals or spiritual goals or musical goals or therapeutic goals or Neptunian goals in general, healing. Just if you're taking some endeavor, leadership, I think that would be the word with a planet like Saturn. Effective leadership. But leadership is not the same as bullying. And leadership is not the same as, this is my decision, and I think this is the right thing that we should be doing, and this is what I'm going to set, and if you get on with this, then you are a good person, or you're doing things out of loyalty for the company or the loyalty for their family, and if you don't do it, then you're automatically. It's not a dictate. So just watch the intentions. Discipline in action, discipline in relationships, discipline when it comes to managing money. Depending on what you're trying to structure, depending on what you're trying to resolve and manage responsibly, depending on how you're dealing with Neptunian nebulousness or cloudiness or deception or gaslighting, and how boundaries need to be set. Discipline in action, but with Venus, discipline in relationships, discipline when it comes to managing money. The first of the Venus-Saturn conjunctions may manifest for some people as a kind of a warning or a potential. And especially as Venus conjuncts Neptune February the 1st, just before she moves into Aries, it could be that Venus is going through Pisces, saying, what do we need to do to bring this part of the chart into alignment? Let me introduce some harmonious opportunities for harmonious ways to do so. And you can determine in the longer run, once the Sun and Mercury enter the picture, and once I'm retrograde and I'm back in the picture, and all of us are having a party in Pisces and Mars in March and April, with the North Node and Neptune and Saturn and Venus and Mercury and the Sun, we'll hash it out then. But for now, the Venus-Saturn conjunction could also be a bit of a warning around what needs to be brought into alignment. Then she goes into Aries, and then she goes, March the 1st, let me go retrograde. Let's go back into Pisces and let's Let me get into the mix to help sort some of this stuff out. Remember, when Venus brings opportunities for harmony, she opens doors where conversations can occur. But it's going to take the Sun and Mercury coming into Pisces at the end of February to really allow you to discern what actions will bring and what of these door opening and what of these opportunities can actually help bring the Pisces part of the chart into alignment with what you value and which don't. Venus is giving you options. You can go this way or you can go this way. You can try this way or you can try this way. You can take this job or you can take this job. You can apply for this or you can apply for this. Sometimes Venus, as I've said to you, may introduce something that is a bit of a contrast to what you want, to basically say, which of these options are you going to take? You're not being able to stabilize with what you intuitively know is the right thing because you're not taking action on it, or you're ignoring the intuitive impulse, or you are not getting on that horse. So here's another way to help meet and make this part of the chart and get it into alignment. But as you contemplate that option, or you take that second option that Venus provides, or a third option that Venus provides, a fourth option, because Venus is trying to help, you may realize, oh, no. I always knew what I needed to do to bring this part of the chart into alignment. I need to get on it. Venus conjunct Saturn can also manifest in encountering a Saturnian presence. Part of that Saturnian presence may be the part of us that wants us to act in a disciplined manner. I'm having a conversation with myself going, I have got to get this part of my life in this kind of order. I've got to. This is the time when I start to structure things. I want to, that kind of Saturnian, like a strict teacher, someone, a well-wisher, who is really trying to talk to yourself. You might find that you are playing that role for yourself, or you might encounter someone who, to various degrees of Saturnian-ness, is going to play that role for you. And that can mean someone who is actively telling you to get real about a situation, telling you to implement solutions or structure plans. As I said, it could be you saying, oh, I've always had this project I really want to start. It's time for me to do this. Oh, I've always wanted to do this, and the time is now. The bank balance is dwindling. I've got to. There's an urgency to take disciplined action to stabilize the Pisces part of the chart. You could be doing that. Others could be doing that. In more extreme cases, it could be consequences, fines, restrictions, meeting someone who wants to put a restrictive agreement onto you, liens, Venus conjunct Saturn. From a relationship perspective, ultimatums. It could be that with this first Venus-Saturn conjunction, you see the possibility of something like this occurring as an outcome, and so you propel yourself into action to avoid that outcome or to manage it. If I let this go for a few more weeks, this could really become a problem. So let me now, when it comes to relationships and money, manage this situation. But the fear or the presence of restrictions, karmic consequences from a disciplined source requiring you to address obligations or set boundaries could very much be, as you headed to that first Venus-Saturn conjunction on the 18th, I think, of February, I said it was, could very much be part of. Now, Venus has cleared the Saturn conjunction for now, so in some ways, this is a great time. As you head to the Venus-Neptune conjunction on February the 1st, I would just say, be very careful. Watch your pocket. Just watch your pocket. Be very careful of, if you want to have conversations with people about stabilizing the Pisces part of the chart, do it between now and Monday, Tuesday. As you head towards February the 1st with that Venus-Neptune conjunction, you just gorgeous, artistic, spiritual, monastic, musical, creative, therapeutic, healing, dreams, Neptunian sort of messages, inspiration, great for that. Not a great conjunction when it comes to managing material or relationship reality. But it could be that you are approaching and heading to February the 1st with a clear-eyed sense of what needs to be managed. And between now and February the 1st, you might actually, and this would be a good way to use that Venus-Neptune conjunction on February the 1st as a warning. If you feel like Venus-Saturn conjunction has warned you about certain consequences, now is the time to be in action so that you can avoid thievery, Neptunian negativity on February the 1st. One more thing about a Venus-Saturn conjunction. Some schools of thought might say that a Venus-Saturn conjunction is a great opportunity for a long-standing partnership or a commitment or an agreement. Now, I will say, if it isn't a commitment or an agreement, because it is Saturn, if someone tries to put something restrictive on you and their intentions are not clean or clear, or your intentions are not clean or clear, I am warning you with Saturn. This is why the first thing I said, be clear about clean, fair, respectful intentions. Remember that that divine spirit sits in all of us. Whether you like the person or don't like the person, if you try and restrict someone into some, I have never seen it work successfully. Other people's agencies need to be respected. What other people want needs to be respected, because that spirit is too strong and too powerful in each of us. It will just create problems. But if there's a real handshake on something, where each party can come to the table thinking, not feeling pressured or forced, but thinking, oh wow, we really can come together, even potentially as a group of people or two parties or whoever it is, and reach some sort of long-standing agreement. Then with this Venus retrograde, which will be messy in March, by the time you get to the final Venus-Saturn conjunction on April the 24th, it could be something that is possible. A kind of a, I don't want to use the word because it can be misinterpreted, alliance, a marriage even, if you want to. But marriages, in today's day and age, a marriage doesn't mean a long-standing, harmonious, constructive, productive agreement is possible. Where once agreements are made, and if mutually happy parties, and when it comes to agreements, it's not that you're going to get everything, but there still has to be a certain integrity towards being happy about what is being done or reached or achieved. If something like that can be put in place by April the 24th, nothing like it. Some astrologers would say that a Venus conjunct Saturn can be a great conjunction for successful agreements. And marriage is not the right word, because a mutually agreed upon separation or divorce that is constructive, that takes into account that this is what is going to work best for both parties, and both parties agree, or all parties agree. It could even be a severance. And sometimes a severance holds a lot of power. Endings can create new beginnings. But endings that have a lot of animosity and energy leaks, and endings that are not true endings because they keep leading to more fights and more people, we went through this before, right? Every victory is a hollow victory, because you are not we have to try not look at each other as individuals as much as kind of just look at each other as sort of manifestations of that that divine spirit. The individual egoic self almost doesn't matter, because once you start something with an intention that is not completely clean or clear, it's not going to stop. And I gave you the examples of different world wars and the Cold War, and it's like we think we won, and then we've unleashed a constant enmity because the paradigm just does not work. The paradigm of victory and loss and treaties that are not mutually agreed upon with some kind of mutual satisfaction, it's not. I have never seen it work. I have never seen it be permanent, and I have never seen it yield or lead to a happy outcome or a long-standing outcome for either party. And in fact, if people are looking to separate peacefully and amicably, because sometimes an amicable contract is not always a contract of union. An amicable contract can be a contract of separation. It can free people enormously and constructively to move on with their lives and allow people to remain a constructive and helpful and even possibly friendly presence in each other's lives. But you have to make sure that greed and, all those, as I said, the intentions have to be clean. And we are talking about Venus conjuncting Saturn, not Mars conjuncting Saturn. So harmony, diplomacy, handshakes. Sometimes a handshake is to come together, and sometimes a handshake is to separate and allow people to live peacefully and reach certain agreements. And that potential is certainly there as you head towards the end of April. But it will likely come with a certain amount of boundary setting and, conversations and who's in and who's out, and especially with that Venus retrograde, which relationships and how are you managing your resources and how are you managing your relationships and how they're contributing to what you value and where you want to go. Those are some points that I wanted to make, because sometimes when you do a reading or you're thinking about something, it's like a tap. It keeps it keeps dripping in terms of information and data and cognitively pulling things together. And so I just felt like these were important enough points, so I jotted them down and I thought, let me do a shorter video, 32 minutes, and get that out there. You already know what videos I'm going to be working on next. Once again, if you're interested in a discounted reading for 2025 and what that holds and how that connects to your birth chart, the 2025 aspects and transits that are happening in the skies and how that affects your birth chart, or if you want to know more about my regular readings, use the email address in the description box below and I can get you information on that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And then there's the bell icon next to subscribe. And if you hover over that, I think there's a wiggly bell on top. Click on that. You'll be notified when I do new videos. Thanks button underneath this video. You can use that to contribute to the channel. I've also got information about donations in the description box. Like or comment on the video. Those are free ways to support the video. I think likes and comments kind of give the video greater circulation on YouTube. If you like my content, feel free to tell others about it if you think they'll benefit from it. And I will see you next time. Thank you.